Hi all. Right, I have just come straight back from that last wee bit at the end of that last video. Just try to cut it because like I say, I had a bit of time and I was hoping to be able to sit and do a bit. And I just couldn't work out where I was at, wasn't sure, thought I was going to have to look back on footage and watch it. Well, I do need to do that still, but because I've got the time that I've got, I'm going to just push on here and see if I can do something with what we're trying to do here. Right, what the heck is that? Why is there a strange... Hang on. That must have been a hair or something over the lens of the camera or something. There was a big funny mark. Right. Or it was maybe just a mark. I was messing about my connection's not working. Anyway, right. So, yeah, but I was just briefly having a look again about me saying about this Abda tracing across the ground into this port, Sorabaja, and then tracing supply from there because it clearly can't trace the water over the water. Hang on though, Grant. Why can't it trace over the water? It's got an air zone of influence too. What is it we're getting wrong here? It's got a zone of influence too, cancelling out the zone of influence from these two carriers. So, which says that Abda can just trace over water, can't it? What am I missing here? See, this is maybe where, like I say, I maybe do need to go away and look at things. No, because we've got an air unit in there. And this is the whole point. We're trying to knock out Abda. We are trying to knock out the air unit, so that puts Abda out of supply. Right, these are not going to grab together. Jolly good. I've got myself in the right tizzy here, I just feel like it's about time I got this card finished and and dealt with. So, alright, hang on, something's coming back to me here. What we want, we know, we know that this can trace supply. Yeah, because this is how they can react. We're not trying to stop that. Yeah. Now it's coming. I think because we know that they can react, and we've brought enough strength. Did we not bring something like 51 strength? I'm sure that was the figure that we calculated, and that was the fact it was including the Dutch. Let's just think 9, 18, 24. No, that's 26, Grant. Yeah, 26, and we want the half times result. We come to 51, and then we brought Abda there as well. So we've brought what was that? 13, 25, 37, 43, and then 8 from that. So we've got exactly 51. Yeah, that's right. We know that. But what we want to do afterwards, it's the afterwards bit. That's it. It's coming now. I think I probably just needed to look over the video because I'm maybe talking about it further back. I just looked at the very end bit to see if I could catch up. But so once we knock that air unit out, which it's not 100% guaranteed because we're going on a half. If we get a quarter dice roll, then it's going to spoil the party. But if we do, however, before, like we were saying, that the Abda could still trace the supply into this ground hex, because then there wouldn't be an allied air zone of influence around this. But it could trace across the ground into this hex here, and then trace off onto this hex here. That was it. So that's what I was worried about. However, I don't think this. I mean, I think we have to try and do this. But I'm still not sure if this is the main purpose of what we're trying to achieve. The main purpose to me, and it's that note 7, isn't it? is to eliminate enemy AZOI units covering HQs in the objective. But then the last part is this, if necessary, and it may be just me reading that, but the way it's worded that way kind of puts me off a bit and makes me think it's meaning something different. But it says, if necessary, capture a base to put AZY over the HQ during post-battle movement. Yeah, and that's why we're attacked. That's why we've got to lock baton. That's why we're having to go for that, because we've nowhere to post-battle move to that continues to air zone of influence us. But my concern was this port and the fact that it could trace through here. However, if we do put that there, it cannot trace. And like I just said at the end of the video there, I thought it could trace up this way, because I feel like there's no issue with tracing through enemy units. Right, Grant, you should probably know that, really. Yeah, just a quick look at the supplied rules there again, 6.2. And I don't see anything that says, and I seem to feel this is right, that you can trace supply through enemy units on the sea, not on the ground. So I could trace supply through a carrier or an air unit, and as long as the zone of influence was neutralized by one of my units. And well, actually, Grant, if that air unit's gone, none of that's applicable, is it? Well, no, it is really. It is, because this guy's not able to stay here. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to move on with this combat and get this sorted, because I'm getting myself all muddled up. I'm hoping somebody's going to watch these videos at some point and try and help. Well, I don't know. Try and make some comments to get my understanding of this. I dare say it'll come. Someday hopefully will try and put me straight on these points. Or I mean, this is the second Japanese card player, and so I think I need help, you know? Or I'm going to struggle to continue, I think. Right, well, you know what? We're going to go with this. I've used up all my activations, clearly. I've not got a dice on this yet. That's going to be our move. So we've got 51 points of strength. Now, I was also watching back in the bit, and yeah, there was a few things came to mind here with this unit moving into Lock Baton. Did they move in together? Don't think they did they? Or, actually, maybe they did, they were there. Because I think they have to move in together. Now, there was a bit of controversy over the videos of John Steed, who seems to be well clued up on the rules. These videos were done quite some time ago, and I remember watching back his videos, and I will watch back on them again more as well once I start playing into this game. In fact, I'd like to look at this bit again, because I'm not quite sure what it was, but it was regarding an amphibious assault. I think it was a situation like this, where he's amphibious assaulting an empty allied controlled hex, city, port, whatever. And he was then also bringing a naval unit along, but it didn't move together with it, so it was from a separate hex. And apparently that's a rule that, if I've got this right, I think this is a rule that used to be allowed, but I don't think it is anymore. So I think the only way to do it, well, hold on, there is another way to do it, and in actual fact, this is what I'm talking about. If these were separate, and I'm pretty sure they were both in that same hex. But if they were, then we could move the Zueho into Tlopatong, declaring an attack here. So what it means is this can't just come along and just sort of take this if it's not got another purpose. But if it moves in there and it's attacking Tlopatong, Chawatchap, then this can then amphibiously assault into this, because remember, this is in an AZOI, this has got the special reaction thing. And I think that's legal to do it that way. Now, however, yeah, and I think this was a rule that got changed or got, whether was being interpreted wrong or something. And I think there's been quite a bit of discussion on that rule, but that's for you big guys to fight that one out. Well, no doubt I'll maybe come into it. But I think I'm okay in doing what I'm doing here. I think I get a feeling these travel together anyway. So you know what? I kind of need to know that, don't I? Because that would be another amphibious shipping point used, wouldn't it? Yeah, they were both in here, weren't they? They're both in Murray. Right, wait a minute. Yeah, I just double checked looking back. They did move together from Murray down at Tlopatong. So that means it's not going to be amphibious shipping point, because that counts as organic. What was it? Transport. And I think even though that's a special reaction, that is still the case. Yeah, my understanding is that that's okay. But like I said, because of what I'm doing, because I'm still, the Zueho's still declaring its this is its attack. It's going to attack this. Now, it's possible that if we react and declare this is a battle hex, then I believe the Zueho's got to then change from being this its target hex to being this its target hex, and whatever's in it, he's fighting against that. So, well, that's a decision that we're going to have to, well, depending on a couple of dice rolls as well. Okay, let's get this moved on, Grant. So where are we at in the offensive phase then, sequence of play? Reaction, right. Yeah, offensive player has declared his battle hexes, so that's what I've done. There's only one battle hex, because we can only create one because of, get zoomed in there a wee bit. We're a wee bit far away, aren't we? So that's the only battle hex to show at it. So step 4 is reaction player may cancel offensive using a weather reaction event. Right, hang on, I need to look at the allied cards, don't I? We've got the Japanese cards lying out here. I don't think they've got anything they can do, have they? No, there's no reaction cards. Well, the allies don't have weather cards anyway. So I think, is that the only part? Is that only talking about weather cards, step 4? Yeah, it is. So step 5, implement possible event bonuses from offensive player's EC card that apply prior to reaction. Well, we're not using it as an EC, we're using it as an OC card, so there's not going to be any bonuses to apply with that. So this is the bit that's going to kick in now. Step 6. If special reaction is possible, reaction player may roll to attempt creating additional battle hexes via special reaction 7.27. If after this no battle hexes were declared nor created due to special reaction, reaction player may play any applicable attack reaction cards, right, doesn't have any of them, then skip to step 13, post-battle movement. Yeah, so if I don't create... Well, hang on, no. Can it not still... Why can't it roll for intelligence on the actual battle hex that we're creating? So if special reaction is possible, reaction player may roll to attempt creating additional battle hexes. If after this no battle hexes were declared nor created due to special reaction. Oh, okay. So what it's saying is if the Japanese have declared no battle hexes and special reaction has failed to declare one as well, then you would skip on. But that's not the case, because the Japanese have still got a declared battle hex, so it will then allow them to go into step 7 and try and change the intelligence condition, I believe. So let's see. Well, I don't see why we shouldn't be trying to do this special reaction. I don't think it does us any harm not to roll the dice anyway. But I suppose I should have a bit of a glance at 7.27. I have looked at it recently, so give me a sec. Okay. This is the bit I was stuck at. Because I was wondering, or this was maybe one of the bits I was stuck at. And this is what I was going through, the procedure of checking to see, because it says, is it within range of a reaction HQ and in a reaction aircraft zone of influence, whether neutralised or not? Well, it is, but yeah, I tried to find. That's what I done at the end of the night last night. Was trying to find, and I know all units are in supply at the start of the offensive. So if certain units have moved to positions, if for some reason this is moved and it's now out of supply, that doesn't matter. It's in supply at the start, and it's been activated, and it's good to go. But what I'm needing to find out, and this is clearly something that's quite simple, is before we move these units here. No, hang on. Is it the case that at the start of this offensive, the ABDA was in supply, and that air unit was in supply, and now it's possible that the ABDA's not in, if you take into account all these zones of influence? Is that how it works? I'm not sure. I'm not so sure it is, because the very first example I play through, and the very first thing that you attempt to do in the game as a Japanese is take the Philippines, take Manila, take the air unit out of Manila. And when you bring air units in, does that not... No, it doesn't, Grant. It doesn't, because it can still react, can't it? So that mustn't be the case. Well, it doesn't shut off the air unit. Once the air unit's away, yes. But if the air unit's still here, and the air unit's still here, so it's still got the zone of influence. So this HQ can activate, I believe, this and this. And, well, it doesn't need to activate itself. I mean, it's in combat itself. I think it could... Am I right in thinking it could fly out? Maybe it could fly out to here. I don't see... I think it can do that, can it? As long as it's still in this battle, but it's just not in the battle hex. But I don't think that benefits it at all. I think it would maybe... I don't know, there's maybe reasons for it wanting to do that, but that's maybe some of the deeper stuff. So yeah, I think that. So I think this is a react. This is a. So if an opposing ground unit ends its offensive move in an unoccupied reaction player controlled city, resource hex, port, or airfield hex that is within range of a reaction HQ and in a reaction aircraft zone of influence, whether neutralised or not, the reaction player may attempt a special reaction on such hexes. So this ground unit is moving into here. It's within an enemy zone of influence. So it is triggering a possible special reaction. And this is a reaction HQ that could react, activate these units, and cause some trouble. Yeah, that's what we're going with. We're going to go with that, and then if somebody tells me I've got all that wrong, then, well, so be it. So, right, I'm just going to roll the dice here, because Where's my wee tray? That's moved across. Hang on. Okay, so just before the roll, just to read on then. So if the roll is successful, the hex is declared a battle hex. This can occur whether an offensive player declared a battle hex or hexes or not. Yeah. So it doesn't. If we hadn't been attacking Chawat, this could still be in a roll that would have happened. It says if more than one hex is eligible for special reactions, separate roll must be done for each hex. Well, we only have the one. And then the next bit is the bit that I found out affects the carrier. I forget his name. The Zweho. Any air and carrier units assigned to cover the landing in the hex where the new battle hex was created will take part in the battle in that hex. Yes. And then it says, if the newly created battle hex contains an air or carrier unit that was declared to take part in another battle, which this was, Zweho was taking part in the battle here, the unit will switch to the battle in the hex it is in if any reaction units react to that battle. So again, we still don't need to put these units in here. So I think I can safely roll a dice to see. So, and then we can, yeah. So let's do that. Okay, got a wee area down here. So, and then we're rolling on, the card is, not quite zoom in there. It's an OC5 in the box at the top there. But you're always going to get this -2 because to roll for a special reaction, you must be entering a zone of influence of an enemy unit. So, and that gives you the -2. So it's kind of like, you're always going to get that -2 for this roll for a special reaction, unless I've got something wrong there. So that turns it into a 7. So we need a 7 or less. And we've got a 0, which is a 0 and not a 10. That's right, yeah. So, yeah. So there is a special reaction available for us. Okay. Okay, so what next, Grant? Well, I think we should just move on. So this is now a battle hex. So we have 2 battle hexes. Now, it might well be that I don't move anything into there. Now, if I don't, then the Zweho can continue its battle into Chawat. However, if I do put something in there, it means that Zweho's got to combat with that, which then takes the strength away from there. But if you remember, we brought 51 points of strength to account for the Dutch unit being involved with something. Because the Dutch unit can, well, I'm saying it can react. We still need to roll for reaction. All we've done with that special reaction is created a new battle hex. We still need to roll a dice again to be able to actually react, which is in the next step, I believe. So step 7 says the reaction player attempts to change the offensive's intelligence condition this is by playing an appropriate reaction card, or as an alternative, make an intelligence die roll, which is the 7.25, which I'll look at in a second. If at the conclusion of the step, the offensive's intelligence condition is surprise attack, skip to step 9. So that means if it fails, it's still going to be surprise attack. Because remember, any offensive that you carry out is its default is surprise attack. And if it says surprise attack on the military event card, the only way you can react to it is by a card rather than the roll of a dice. I remember that one too. Okay. So we definitely want to roll for this as well anyway, because even if we don't react by moving units, we want to have, at least, we want to be able to hit back, although it probably doesn't make any difference, right enough. Well, no, you've got a chance. We're getting to fire back at the same time, simultaneously. We've got the chance of a critical hit, so there is that. Whereas if we lose the surprise attack, then they can eliminate our units before we get to fire back. So, right, so let me have a glance at this. Yeah, I don't need to read through all that. I mean, I glanced through it all, and it's basically it's reasonably straightforward. We're doing the same thing. We're rolling and it's the same result, and they get the -2 again. because we are in an enemy zone of influence, and whether it's neutralised or not. So it's a 7 or less they need to gain. And they've got a 2. So that is going to now change the surprise attack into intercept. Yes, okay. So let me look at what was that? That was step 7. Yeah, so step 8 says the reaction player activates and moves units to participate in battle hexes, either declared by offensive player or created by a special reaction. Yeah. 0.26. Yeah, okay. So now we've got to make our... let's look at the action a bit more. Now we've got to decide what we want to do, and then just reading on, just so... Step 9 is reaction player may play any attack reaction cards. Again, we've got no reaction cards, and that was the reaction player, yeah? Yeah. And then implement any offensive bonuses that apply after reaction. Implement any attack reaction cards that apply prior to battles. Players resolve all battles. Yeah, then players conduct. Implement any attack reaction cards that apply after battles. Then step 13, players conduct post-battle movement. Reaction player first, followed by offensive player. Step 14, conduct all necessary emergency naval movement and emergency air movement. I'm not sure about how that one... I think if we have a naval or air unit in a hex that's been taken over, isn't it? Is that 8.22? A player gains control of a hex which contains opposing naval units. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and that can't post-battle move. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so I'm going to have to decide here. Now, if we use the ABDA HQ, so it's got an efficiency rating of 1. I remember that. I remembered that without looking at my piece of paper there. There you go. Maybe I've got it now. So, and then the OC value of the card was a 3. So we as allies get that as well. So we get 4 activations. So we can activate 4 units. Now, the air unit in the hex we don't need to bother about, because like we've already said, he's involved anyway. Now, like I've said, I could activate him and fly him. Actually, can I do that? What's his range? You know what? I'm not going to do that anyway. But you could fly him out. I'm not quite sure I understand. It feels like there might be good reason for that at certain times, but it could be to do with how many air units are involved in the battle, but not something that affects us just now. So we're not going to bother activating him. However, we do have this. It could be a bump, maybe. And we do have that. Well, not so much this, because remember, this is just a one-step unit, so we can ignore that. However, if this gets involved, this needs to take a step loss before we can eliminate the air unit. And remember, the air unit's a two-step unit as well. So we need to reduce this by a step and then hit the air unit twice. And that's why we're wanting the 51 points of damage. So, yeah. But this being declared as a battle hex, now we could chuck... Now, if we put the Dutch cruiser in there, then that takes the Zweho out of the game, because it's got to fight the Dutch cruiser. But then, how much strength? Yeah, I'm going to take these out here just now, and we know they're all in the hex, so just to get count out some numbers, I think, really. I just want to look at that air unit. Yeah, it does have a normal range of 2. So it could actually activate and fly to here and still be participating in the battle. But I'm just not sure of the whole... whether that's worthwhile. So if we remove the Zweho from the battle in Chawatjap, how much strength do they still have? They have 24, 37, and then the Rayojo. Taking it up to, no, what did I say? 24, 37, 43. So, and then obviously we wouldn't be bothered about the Dutch cruiser anymore because it's up in Tawakbetong. So 43 against 18 doubled to 36. So yeah, we only need 30. Well, I think it's 35, isn't it? Something like that. So that would still satisfy our half times result. So it's not really helping. It's not really helping stop things here, I don't think. So I'm thinking, do I want to take the chance and put the Dutch cruiser in here? Because it means Zweho will then possibly be able to put a set of waters on the Dutch unit. And would I be able to do anything back to him? No, I've got 3 strength against his 8 defense. So the only thing could be if you got a critical hit. So, and this is where his players would come into it and say, well, that's worth taking the chance for that, because probably part of you might be saying, well, that Dutch cruiser's kind of hopeless now anyway, because once Abda gets taken out. But actually, Abda's not going to be. No, it is, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, because that's the whole point in the Zweho being here. Or this Tawakbetong getting taken, so that we can then post-battle move one of our carriers, or both of them even, into there, and then neutralise an Abda. Okay. So does that mean there's no real point in me reacting then? Oh, okay. Yeah, this is interesting. I was just wondering about how we determine who wins an air-naval combat. I don't know if this is going to make a difference or not, actually. Is it strength? Yeah, attack strength. What is on the other side of the Zweho? 6. As well. Oh no, that's... No, right, okay. What my thinking was there, that if we did bring the Dutch cruiser up, and we got real lucky and rolled a 9 and hit the Zweho, flipping him his one step side, and they got unlucky and he got a half result from his 8, not hitting us, then I thought it might have been steps, because I think when it comes to the ground combat, it's all about how many steps you've lost. However, it says... determine, this is 9.3, determine the winner of the air naval combat. Both sides add up their attack strengths of the surviving air naval units. And I'll not read all of that, but then down the bottom it says, the side with the higher total is the winner of the air naval combat. Oh, wait a minute, in case of... Oh, no, it's not 6. Yeah, I was looking at this guy, innit? So that would be 6 against 3, yeah. It does say in case of ties, the reaction player wins. Actually, so if they did have 6, so I thought that might have been a reason to go up there, but the only reason to go up there is to maybe have that result and be able to get a 9, and hopefully he doesn't hit us. But it's not going to stop anything from happening. They're still going to control that hex. I would just have to post-battle move this somewhere else. I don't know, but it looks like Abda's... I think I should do this. So I think I'm going to activate this Dutch cruiser and do that. Yeah. Now obviously this is me. This is me making probably strategic mistakes. So we're going to activate this. I mean, the other thing is I could just chuck it in the Chilachap. It could come and fight there, but we've already taken account, the numbers I've taken into account, so, and I think there's more chance of them getting destroyed in there, whereas this battle here, they're 2 separate battles, and this does have to roll a 1 times result to have a hit on this, and he's not going to be eliminated, whereas if they got a good result in here, then it might be eliminated. Yeah. Okay, we're going to react. We're going to activate the Dutch cruiser, and it's going to come into Top Baton as well and join that battle. So the Zueho now the switches its attack from Chawatjap to Top Baton. Yeah. Okay. And there's no real point. Well, actually, what if No, you can't do that. I remember that one. I can't just activate a unit for the sake of it. It's got to join the combat somehow. Yeah, that's right. Because I was just thinking there, we could activate that and maybe post-battle move it somewhere safer. But no, you're not allowed to do that. So if I do activate that, it's either got to join the battle here or join the battle here. And that's rather... Is it? Would it be in any use if it was in here? I don't think so. Well, I was just about to say, well, it does nothing really. Because they would have to hit the Dutch cruiser first, so it wouldn't be able to eliminate that. However, it would then create this possible emergency naval move-in. Not emergency naval move-in, post-battle move-in that unit from there. And there's not going to be any point still being in Batavia, so I'm just wondering, but this post-battle movement, do you not have to watch zones of influence and that? Maybe that's something I should look at. Yeah, I'm starting to wonder. See, this is because I just don't know the game awfully well yet. I'm just wondering, is the reason these naval units are in these two hexes are to like just cause trouble, because I'm not going to be able to move back to Batavia and post-battle move because I need to be, the unit must be in supply in the hex and within range of a friendly HQ if possible. It must be in supply in the hex. Well, that's not going to be the case because the Zueho is going to be exerting a zone of influence in there. So whereas if I don't react with this and just leave it here, then it's another hex the Japanese have got to take, Batavia. And this is what's making me wonder about maybe leaving the Dutch unit there. Because I was concerned about, well, they're going to then be out of supply, and then the whole attrition thing. But naval units aren't affected by attrition, so I think they just get to sit there. We can't do anything with them, but they're still stopping. Right now, if I do what I'm doing here, and a Japanese unit could just move into Surabaja, just amphibious assault into it, no problems. Because it's not even going to be a zone of influence anymore. So, yes, I'm rethinking that, I think these guys are better just staying put, aren't they? Yeah. Because where could he post-battle move to? He could come down to here, maybe. Sorry, that's just off camera. Well, you get the 15 movement, so if it was in there, 1, 2... Now, I'd have to... See, it doesn't... When you're doing post-battle movement, do you need to... No, because you can move through zones of influence. What am I talking about? Right. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I could go and I could post-battle move into here. It's maybe more important to be in here on Surabaja. That's one of the resource hexes. Although it's probably straightforward for the Japanese to stroll in there and get rid of that Dutch unit, which that'll be part of its next strategies once there's no allied air zone of influence. But it's still taking up a turn, it's still taking up an activation or two to do that. And I think that's why it's probably best just to accept that, yeah, we're just going to take this one on the chin, I think. But again, please let me know if all that thinking is a nonsense, and if it would be better to do that, then feel free to make comments, guys. Yeah, that will help me understand the game better. Okay. So, right, give me a sec. Okay, so after all that toing and froing, we're not going to react at all. We have changed the intelligence condition though to intercept, so it doesn't mean that they get to. We will still get to roll a dice, and the air unit could still roll a 9. I mean, it's not going to. I'll put the ABDA there as well. And we'll put that there and that on top so we can see that. I mean, it's going to deal out 7 points of damage, which can't touch any of these guys. So it doesn't need to roll a 9. However, we've got to also remember. Now, hang on a sec though, that could be a consideration. Because they had to bring 51 points of damage because we were considering put the Dutch cruiser. Well, the Dutch cruiser could react. If they roll a quarter result now, does that still... so it's 18. A quarter... What is the quarter for 18? Oh no, it's 69. They would need 69 strength. They've not got that. So they can still fail on a quarter result. Was I looking at that right? Half result. Yeah, but they can't on a half result. They've got it covered on a half result. So there is that chance still. That's what maybe just threw me back there to think, well, maybe if they're going to succeed even on a quarter result, then maybe we should react and annoy this Weiho. But we'll not bother. It doesn't look like it's worthwhile. Okay, so shall we roll 2 dice and see what happens then? Well, hang on. Where was the sequence of play? So reaction player may play... No, reaction player activates and moves units. I'm not doing that. Reaction player may play attack reaction cards. Not doing that. Implement any offensive bonuses that apply after react. Not doing that. Players resolve all battles. It's within 7.28, but it's reasonably straightforward. And I think we can just use the combat tables, can't we? Yeah, well, it doesn't tell you much there. Oh, well, there's a whole bit on it. It's section 9, isn't it, that talks about combat. And yeah, there could be a lot more things that we need to consider, but I think this is going to be straightforward, shall we say? Right, okay, well, let's roll 2 dice and see what we get. So the reds, the Japanese, the grey ones, the allies. And this is air naval, but it's not a surprise attack. So there isn't any modifiers at all. Is that right, Grant? Yeah, there's no modifiers. And you can get results from quarter, half, or 1 times. But you can also get a critical hit with a 9, which does some funky things. And that's what the allies need. Okay, here we go. Oh, the Japanese have got a 9. Okay, and the allies get a 2. So the 2 is a quarter result. So unfortunately, well, let's get back into the action, Grant. Yeah, I mean, it couldn't have done anything apart from it needed a 9. That was the only thing that was going to do it. So a 7 quartered is oh god, it's going to round up to 2. Maybe is that 2, 4, 6, 8? I think it rounds up to 2. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. So yeah, but it's not going to hit anything. It can't touch any of these guys at all. And the Japanese got a 9. So if the die rolls a 9 before any required modifiers, then that's how this achieved the critical hit, in addition to receiving a 1 result. So it's got its 1 times result. I don't think the critical hit's going to make any odds in, is it? Because it's only attacking this hex. Now, the ground unit underneath isn't involved, is it? Because this is just an air naval attack. And, however, I think if, see, for instance, this wasn't here, this air unit, I think that is classed as everything would be against the ground unit. But if there's any air or naval units involved in the battle, then I don't think the ground units come into it. That's going to have to be a separate thing. Let's hope I've got that one right. That sounds like it should be something you know, Grant. Let me see the combat stuff, see if I can find... Oh, there's critical hit. Let me have a wee look at critical hit. Yeah, just looking at 9.2, which is the Air Naval Combat Procedure. And it's part F, how to apply hits, and there's a few numbered bullets. Number 5, well, number 6 is a critical hit, but that doesn't apply here. I mean, it's if a critical hit is achieved by an unmodified 9, the player may circumvent the restriction of case number 2, which is all full strength units must be reduced before any units are eliminated. So it does that, and it can also what is it? It says, additionally, any time a player achieves a critical hit and it's mathematically unable to achieve at least one step loss, then one step loss is assessed to the opposing unit with the lowest defense strength. Yeah, I read that recently because I'm glad I read it because I didn't realise it had to be the one with the lowest strength. Anyway, step 5, just above, bullet 5, if a player was the only side with air and or naval units in the air naval battle, so if that air unit wasn't involved, the Dutch air unit, and we were just going in with air naval units into the Abda, into Chilajap, then hits may be applied to any opposing ground units in the hex. So that's why, yeah, you don't really want to have your ground units left on their own. It says if opposing air naval units were present in the battle, hits can only be applied to air and or naval units. Good stuff. It also says, yeah, this is a big point too. I'm glad I just noticed that. The last ground step in a hex cannot be eliminated due to air and naval hits. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the downside to just sort of saying, well, we'll just chuck all our air naval into that ground. You can't remove the last step. For instance, these guys are only one step units, so there's no point attacking them with air naval units. You need a ground unit to come and take care of that. Okay. Right, so let's finish the battle then, Grant. So the Dutch, we do get to simultaneously deal out our damage. So the Dutch get to deal. What did I say? He got a quarter result, didn't he? Yeah. So combat factors was 7. Yeah, quarter of 7 is 2. So he gets to deal 2 damage to something, and then, well, we've counted it before. It's 51 points of damage, and we've only got one target that we can hit. So 9 of that 51 flips it, 9 again. So we only needed 18 to destroy the Dutch unit. So and it's a pre-war unit, so that's eliminated for good. And okay, and that's the combat. So there's a sequence of play go from there. Players resolve about implementing the attack reaction cards that apply after battles. Players conduct post-battle movement 9.6. Reaction player first, followed by the offensive player. And we didn't activate any units because, yeah, we chose to think that was maybe the better idea. But feel free to tell me it wasn't, guys. I think at the beginning that most of the Allied units are rather hopeless, aren't they? They weren't expecting all this, of course. This is strong though, and this is the main reason that they want to take this out, because now that's going to be out of supply. And in fact, this will take an attrition hit, won't it? What? Will it? Oh, no, hang on. As long as it's in range of an HQ. Doesn't matter if the HQ's in supply. Yeah, I remember that one. There's something about that. We'll get to that anyway at the end of the turn. So what was it? Post-battle movement, reaction player first, right? None of that. So, and we wanted to take note of that, note 7, within the... I've got the reaction chart open. Note 7 within the opening axis determination to neutralise allied HQs. If necessary, capture a base to put AZOI over the HQ during post-battle movement. So we were looking at that, and this is what this whole, well, not problem, but brought us. So we have indeed, we've captured this hex, and I will grab a control marker. I know these will start getting a bit messy, but Tawak Batong, that's not a resource hex. Right, hang on, we're not leaving the carrier there though, Grant. Well, we need to leave one of the carriers there, so that one either stays there or the Rejo post-battle moves into there. I don't know. I've not got a clue. So, right, well, Abda's still in there. Now, these units all need to post-battle move somewhere as well. But this is a legitimate place to go as well. But they can all move back. They were up at Camran, weren't they? 2 of them were, anyway. Okay, I started having a wee think there about what might be a good thing to try and think about. Well, these were up at Camran, then I started thinking, well, we put them back up there, and what's an important factor? Well, being in range of combined fleet, because it might be quite nice, and Camran is in range of combined fleet. I mean, yeah, I could push them. Well, I could maybe push them a bit further. I mean, they get 15 movement again. So I think what I'm going to do is... yeah, I'm going to leave Zueho here. Just wondering, leaving... You know what? I think I'll leave one of the cruisers here as well. Yeah, I don't really know what my thinking is here. And then the other 3, I'm just going to post-battle move to Camran, which is here. And they are within range of the combined fleet. So my thinking is we can get a combined fleet, because combined fleet's got 3 efficiency rating. That's twice this turn, or sorry, this offensive. I've said efficiency rating without looking at that piece of paper. I've got it. Right, yeah, like I say, if they're in range of that, the extra efficiency rating seems to make sense, doesn't it? And we've got 2 wee cruisers there, and we've got that carrier. Whereas leaving the Zueho here and this guy here, obviously it can only be activated by the South HQ. So that is the downside. I just thought maybe leaving one of the cruisers here with one of these wee brigade naval unit, the guys that can amphibious assault for free. I mean, yeah, he's with a carrier, but then the carrier could head off and do better things, maybe. Okay. Right, well, there we go. And is that it? Sequence of play. Conduct all necessary emergency naval movement and an emergency air movement. Well, we've none of that. And obviously, Abda's okay in the fact that it's not been taken over by a ground unit. Same with the ground unit in Chwat. And like I've said already, this is still a strong unit that we've got to try. But now we don't need to care. We've got the zone of influence around us. Abda's not in supply. It cannot. Aye. No, remember, Grant. Yeah, it can still activate the Dutch unit, can't it? Because it can still trace supply across land into this port and away. So yes, it can. Interesting. So, and then it could also that means that Dutch. Does it mean the Dutch cruiser's in supply? It must be. If this can trace supply through that, surely that can trace supply to Abda across land. I think so. Yes. I think that's the case. Okay. Yeah, well, I think we're done. I think we're done with the second card play. There's nothing else. Fences phase. That's, yeah. We just now go back on to the next card, which would be the Allies. So that's still just another hour's worth of video footage just to actually finish off playing that card. So right, I think I can discard. And remember, this is only discarded because we played it for the OC. We didn't play it for the event, so it doesn't get removed from play. It just gets discarded. And yeah, that's it. Good stuff. So back over to the Allies. But I'll cut this here because no, it's another hour. I'm as well just chucking this out as a video. And I need to watch them. I think I was just getting bogged down with things, and yeah, it's going to be a game where you're going to have to push on through a lot of that, Grant. There's going to be a lot more of it to come. So anyway, right, okay, I'll be back with the next Ally card play shortly, guys. Okay, cheers.